welcome, brother. How's it going?
Oh, that it was a little questionable at first there, but we managed to right the ship. Hughes comes back and scores a sneaky little backhander there, in true captain fashion that he's done so far this year. Um, Golden opportunity to get off to a banging start there with a 4-minute power play, but losing Hughes there really showed its ugly head with only getting one shot on that 4-minute power play. It's pretty inexcusable, to be honest. But luckily, Tampa Bay looks like they're playing a 1 p.m. game as well. Kucherov and Gensel there flubbing that 2-on-1 very easily could have been in the back of the net. Overall, defensively, I'd say we're playing quite well, keeping the Tampa Bay chances low risk and to the outside, but definitely wish we would have capitalized more on that 4-minute power play.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to lose Hughes, who's obviously the quarterback for that power play. It's another thing. A lot of the time, it takes a minute to get into the game, right? And you haven't got all your lines out yet. Suddenly, you're on the power play. Obviously, there's probably a little bit of concern for the Quinn Hughes going to the locker room as well. So it's one of those things. I don't want to make excuses for the Canucks, but at least they're up 1-0, despite the fact that they didn't really look very good on that power play. They looked good outside of that. And then I did see on that power play, that's how desperate they were. I saw Vincent Desharnais start that power play. He got 17 seconds on the power play, which I think that's probably his first power play time all year. So we're hoping he gets his first as a Canuck and his second of his career. But yeah, tough start for the Canucks on that 4-minute double minor.
Yeah, definitely. And a 5-on-5, that blue line play that we have on our breakout, it's got to go. I'm starting to count a tally on it. I counted about 4 of them already in the first period there, where our guy skates up the middle, dumps it off to the side, and we get our shot blocked or we miss the net wide. It happens way too often, and if I can notice it and notice a pattern, then sure as hell the video coaches on other teams are noticing it, which would have a lot to do with our struggle to enter the zone.
So we'll call the double minor lack of effort a down, but we'll call the Quinn Hughes floater an up. Is it one of those things like that shot? I don't think Vasilevsky saw that shot, and it's obviously usually goalies are used to facing these clappers that are going 95 miles an hour. Is that maybe part of it, that it just kind of floated in there? Vasilevsky didn't really get in position, and suddenly it's going by his hip, like against the grain of, because Quinn Hughes skates this way and then the puck goes the other way. Is that pretty much how that one beat Vasilevsky?
Absolutely. I think that tricked everybody. It looked like Hughes was going to continue driving across the middle of the slot there and come across with the backhand, but to go back against the grain short side and sneak it in through some legs there, I don't think really anyone saw that coming other than Hughes. So a great little heads up kind of trick play almost, but definitely paid off, and maybe a little karma for taking that one in the beak early.
Yeah. My buddy Mike Saunders will join us during the second intermission. He sent a picture, and yeah, there was quite a delay to get that power play started too, because they needed to clean up not only the pile of blood in the zone, but also a trail of blood all the way back to the Canucks bench. So he was definitely linking. Someone in the chat was like, "He'll play, he'll play," and I was like, "With cotton balls in his nose." So it looks like they've got the bleeding under wraps. Was there any other downs for the Canucks?
Nothing major there, actually. That was a pretty solid period overall. Defensively, like I said, we kept everything kind of low risk. If we can keep that up, we'll be okay. When you're not giving too much of the middle to Tampa Bay, that's a good thing. We all know what Kucherov's capable of, so we can't sit back. We definitely need to keep our foot on the gas and keep driving the offense and driving the play we were doing in the last 5 minutes of that period, which was much more comfortable to watch.
We're gonna give an up to Taylor Swift because as a result of Taylor Swift being in town, a lot of the hotels in the area have jacked their prices up, charging like $2,000 a night for a hotel room. This resulted in Tampa Bay actually having to change their plans for coming to Vancouver, which also might be part of the reason why they might be a little disheveled right now, because they weren't able to follow through with their original plans, because they're not going to spend $2,000 a night to have their players stay in Vancouver. So I don't even know they ended up staying. They might be staying somewhere else, but maybe a little bit of a trip into the rink today for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
There you go. We'll give an assist to Tay.
Her final show of her Eras tour. So, yeah. Let's hop on over because obviously Jon Cooper, head coach of Tampa Bay. We don't usually talk a lot about the other teams, but we're going to give Jon Cooper some props today because he is a Prince George native. What can you say about the career so far of Jon Cooper as an NHL head coach?
Oh man, not just an NHL coach. He's had success at all levels. This guy is currently the longest tenured active coach in the NHL, and for good reason. Back-to-back cups in 2020, 2021. Couple that with finals appearances in 2015 and 2002. The second he was hired by the Tampa Bay organization in the AHL, even he saw success a year after his being hired by winning the Calder Cup in 2011, 2012. Um, you know, he was promoted to Tampa Bay in 2013 and immediately made a difference. He's got he says 525 career wins, like you have up on the screen there.
Yeah.
And 279 losses, 75 overtime losses. So well above 500 as a coach. His postseason record, 87-63. So, I mean, he's got tons of success. Even his junior teams before he got involved in the NHL were winning championships as well. He was slated to coach Team Canada at the 2022 Beijing Olympics, but obviously those were canceled due to some COVID issues with the NHL not going. But he will coach the Four Nations Cup Team Canada and is also set to coach the 2026 Winter Olympic team in Italy. So, I mean, this guy is going, if there was ever a first ballot Hall of Fame coach, it's Jon Cooper.
Yeah. It's funny, you saw during Rick Tocchet, during his morning chat with the media, they had Jon Cooper walking by, and Rick Tocchett's like, "Hey, what's your strategy for today?" I mean, that's the thing, right? You look at a guy, longest tenured guy in the whole NHL. He's like, what is that? Like over 600 winning percentage. And Tampa Bay has made this Stanley Cup playoffs 10 seasons out of 12 while he's been coaching there. So an incredible talent and keeps that team going, despite the fact that, we all thought maybe after those cup wins, maybe you saw that Tampa Bay might take a nosedive because you quite often see that happen. But no, they've popped in some other players. They've got some other guys in there, and they just keep them moving in the proper direction. Is there anything you can say, like coaching style wise? Why has his style of coaching in the NHL been so successful?
I think he's just a very approachable guy. He just demands a certain level of work ethic, but he also lets the guys have fun. I think at the end of the day, he remembers that it's a game and these kids are young kids and they have a talent and that talent needs to be utilized rather than stifled. And he allows all the players to use their tools to the best of their ability. And his best thing as a coach is the line build up and the chemistry he finds right from first line all the way through fourth line. He's had some successful players and some really good all-star players, but you still have to coach them. There's lots of teams out there with star players that can't get it done. Edmonton,
Nashville.
Sorry, something was stuck in my throat there. The Oilers.
We both got something stuck in our throat.
But yeah, like he just looks like a guy you want to play hockey for. He looks like he doesn't often lose his cool, but if he does, it's probably for a good reason. And I honestly I see him having a very, very long career in the NHL.
Yeah, he's almost up to 1,000 games already. So I think that's within the next two and a half seasons, he'll be up to 1,000 game coached in the NHL without being terminated at the entire time. So I guess I'll knock on wood for the man, but so far so good for him.
Absolutely. I think once he's done his career, we'll be talking about him along the likes of legendary coaches like Scotty Bowman and people like that. So he's well on his way to the Hall of Fame.
So we're on Demko watch. We thought maybe we see him today, but I can't kind of see the logic. He didn't get his like morning routine, the morning skate. For a guy coming back from injury, it kind of does make sense to let him get a full day warm up before getting into a game. Tuesday?
Absolutely. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. He's starting Tuesday against St. Louis. I mean, it had to have been very close today to letting him start. I'm sure he wanted it. But I bet there was probably a group discussion of, look, you're not getting your morning skate, like you said, you're not going to get to warm up properly, have your afternoon nap, things like that. You know, it's not setting him up for success by putting him into an afternoon game against one of the most potent offenses in the NHL. That's just playing with fire. You know, you run the risk of him flaring up the injury by having to face too many shots or things like that. So it just makes far more sense to start him on a 7 p.m. game, something that he's accustomed to. He's been doing that for years now with the Canucks. He can have his full day routine. He can be ready to go. And, you know, St. Louis is, you know, a decent team to play against. They're not great. They're not bad. They're learning a new coaching system right now, so it's a good game for Demko to get back into and see how he does.
Yeah, and so obviously too, we saw the news today. Shilov's getting sent down to the I keep on calling it the Abbotsford Hockey League, the American Hockey League, sending down to Abbotsford. Do you think he gets the start today? Was it like a 6 o'clock start today for Abbotsford?
4 p.m. start
4
today.
p.m.
Quite possibly. It's tough to say. They've had some pretty good goalie performances down there. So obviously, Shilovs is the one you want to get some starts and get his confidence back. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's starting today at 4 o'clock. It'll be a little unfortunate for Ty Young, who's shown that he's ready for the AHL level. He might end up having to get shipped back to Kalamazoo.
Yeah. So well, I mean, Patera's still hurt, but we'll talk. Let's just before we talk fully about the Abbotsford Canucks, I did want to bring up Kuzmenko. He was scratched from the lineup in Calgary for the last 2 games. They are playing today. They think he's going to get back in the lineup today, but now that's 2 games in a row that he was sitting in the press box. What is Kuzmenko just going to end up sent back to the KHL? Like, what are we looking at here from this guy?
I mean, he just refuses to learn how to play a 200-foot game. And that's not to say that he needs to stop being an offensive-minded player. It's just he's got 1 goal in 25 games and only 9 points. And that is not why you bring Kuzmenko onto your roster. And in that time, he's also a -4. So it's not like it's one thing if you're going to score 40 goals and you're not going to play great defensively. But if you're not finding the back of the net and you're not finding your teammates to find the back of the net, then you're not valuable. The best place for you is in the press box, unfortunately. You know, at times we've seen it here when he was with Vancouver, and we see it when he's with Calgary. He looks like he's playing shinny out there. He loves hockey. Don't get me wrong; he has a passion for the game, but I don't think he loves being a professional. I think he's more interested in the social media side of things. We saw it here with the summer of him not really getting into training or doing anything like that, but mostly just partying, having fun, living his best life. So, unfortunately, if he expects success to come to him instead of grabbing it, the NHL is just going to pass him by and he's going to be famous for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for bananas and Pepsi.
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend too much time on that, but yeah, Kuzmenko, just like another tip of the hat to Alvin for getting rid of that guy, unfortunately, despite the fact that he's a fan favorite. So Abby Canucks, big win last night down in Abbotsford against Colorado. It felt like the Colorado goalie was having a rough one last night.
Yeah, that was a huge victory for us last night. The baby Canucks there, obviously coming off of two losses on the road, so it was nice to bury 6 goals against Colorado there in front of the home crowd. Linus Karlsson got things going real quick, 12 seconds into the game, not wasting any time in his return after missing 18 games with an injury. And then Lek Aramaki followed that up less than 2 minutes later on a breakaway. We added another one shortly after that by Baines getting fed by Lek Aramaki. And we closed out the first period up 3-1. We did get into a bit of penalty trouble in the second period, taking 4 minors, but with the return of Jet Wu to the lineup, it stabilized our penalty kill, and the boys were able to kill off all 4 of those in the second period, and Dino Cambites was able to add 1 for us, so we were up then 4-1 going into the third. We added 2 more goals by Karlsson and Lek Aramaki, both getting their second of the game. In the third period, Karlsson on the power play, burying a nice rebound goal, and then Lek Aramaki right in front of the net, burying a nice one as well. So yeah, Ty Young stopped 24 of 25 shots, looked very solid. Which brings us to, with Shilov's going down, all of our goalie prospects are performing quite well. So Shilov's is actually going to have his hands full by keeping the net down there and having to get his confidence back. And also of note in this game, Baines getting a goal and 2 assists to bring him up to his 100th AHL point. So a milestone game for Bainesy down there.
Another guy who we don't talk a lot about, but it's another Ty on the team. Ty Mueller getting 2 assists last night. So another guy who kind of flies a little bit under the radar, but I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that ends up getting a look in the NHL just as more of like a bottom 6 guy. But coming up, looking really, really good down there in Abbotsford and providing some offense at the same time. He's up to 6 assists on the season so far.
Yeah, the team's really starting to click. The structure of Malholtra's coaching is really starting to shine through. And now that we've got kind of our regular lineup, we know who's going to be playing where and whose responsibilities are what. The team's really starting to gel, and it looked really good start to finish yesterday.
Yeah, I watched the highlights. It's lots of fun. If you haven't checked them out yet, definitely jump on and check them out. I call it karaoke hockey because you're doing karaoke and you follow along with the bouncing puck in that one because there was some crazy stuff happening, going off shin pads, off of sticks. But at the end of the day, that's a lot of the time what you're looking for is you don't look for pretty goals. You're looking for those dirty, greasy in front of the net goals. And they got a couple of those last night.
Yep. And they don't ask you how, they just ask how many.
Awesome, Dustin. Thanks for stopping by for the first intermission. We'll get you back for the post-game show. So enjoy the rest of the game till then.
Sounds good.
Nothing is perfect.